Visible Base versus Visible Plus versus Visible Plus Pro versus Verizon Unlimited Ultimate. This is an ultimate speed test to see how the plans compare. Two key differences I want you to notice right off the bat. Difference number one, look at the status bar. Visible Base has the 5G symbol, whereas the Visible Plus Pro, and Verizon Unlimited Ultimate plans have the 5G UW icon. Difference number two, the Verizon Unlimited Ultimate plan has the option for 5G standalone. So if you go to voice and data, you can see 5G standalone is available. If we go to voice and data on all of the other plans, you can see they only offer these standard options. So you're only getting 5G standalone on Verizon Unlimited Ultimate. With that out of the way, first, what are we actually connected to? If we go into field test mode, we'll get some extra details and information. And if you're curious how to get this application on your home screen, I do have a video tutorial on how to do that, linked in the video description. Anyway, here we can see Visible Base is just showing an LTE connection. Visible Plus is showing 100 megahertz of N77. Visible Plus Pro, while it is showing 5GW in the status bar, is just showing LTE. And Verizon Unlimited Ultimate, because it has a standalone connection, which you can see right here, it is showing 100 megahertz of N77. Now, field test mode is notoriously poor, as you can see with some of these phones here. So thankfully, I have a Galaxy S23 Ultra, and what we're gonna do is just start running a test, and then we're gonna go to the service mode so we can get additional information here. And from the Galaxy service mode, we can see band N77, 100 megahertz, and there is a second band N77 that is 60 megahertz. So we're going to be aggregating those together for 160 megahertz of band N77. So that's what we're dealing with. Let's dive into the speed test. How fast are each of these plans on Verizon 5G ultra wideband? Let's go ahead. Let's start with the Visible Plus plan. This is getting priority data on the Verizon network. And as you can see, we are getting crazy fast speeds. Over don't want to speak too soon. Looks like 1,697 megabits per second on the download. Outrageously fast. And for the upload, it finished getting 129 megabits per second. Next, let's try the Visible Plus Pro plan. Again, this is getting truly unlimited priority data on the Verizon network, and I would expect very similar performance from this plan. And yes, as you can see, we're getting very similar speeds here, just over 1,600 megabits per second on Visible Plus Pro. And now running the upload test here, and you can see it's getting great speeds as well, finishing with a final result of 127 megabits per second up. Next, let's try the Verizon Unlimited Ultimate plan. Does having a 5G standalone connection make a difference? And looking at the speeds here, it honestly looks very similar. Over 1,600 megabits per second, literally right in between Visible Plus and Visible Plus Pro. It got 1,654 megabits per second down. Now, what's interesting is it's actually doing better on the upload. It got 162 megabits per second up, which is measurably faster than the other plans. And lastly, Visible Base. What do you get as a Visible Base customer on 5G ultra wideband? Well, as this test starts here, you can see it's actually getting capped at about 400 megabits per second. That's right, Visible Base, you do get access to 5G ultra wideband despite not seeing that in your status bar, but your 5G ultra wideband connection is restricted to 400 megabits per second. So you got 408 megabits per second on the download and 131 megabits per second on the upload. And just to check after that test is run, if we go into, you just saw it and then it went away. All right, we're gonna try and get that back. We're gonna run a test and go back to field test. Okay, the second test just finished, getting 423 down and 132 up. Now, if we quickly go back into field test and we wait just a second, I'm hoping it'll show that 5G connection. There it is. And there it is. You can see the Visible Base plan is connected to 100 megahertz of N77. So even though you don't get that 5G UW icon in the status bar, you are connected to the 5G ultra wideband network, and your speeds just will be capped to around 400 megabits per second. And it looks like the upload speeds are not capped. So that is a data speed test. What about video streaming quality? To test this, you can use the fast.com application. This connects to Netflix's servers and simulates video streaming content. So you can see Visible Base getting about a 1.8, 1.9, let's see what it finishes at, 1.8 megabits per second. It's advertised as getting standard definition video streaming. Next, we have Visible Plus. This is advertised as getting 1080p video streaming. And starting this test off, you can see, oh, what's that? It's actually getting capped to around 1.9, about the same as Visible Base. 1.9 megabits per second. Now you might be wondering, why is this? Why is a plan that is advertised as getting 1080p streaming getting limited to the same streaming limit as a 480p plan? Well, it turns out you actually need to go ahead, go into your Visible application and enable the full definition video streaming. So just go to the Visible app, go to the account tab, scroll down until you see these features right at the bottom here, and you're going to scroll over until you see HD video. Go ahead, tap on that and toggle that on. And once you see the toggle is enabled, what you want to do is go ahead and turn on airplane mode. Then wait a few seconds and toggle airplane mode off, and that should put into effect the 1080p video streaming. So now that you have 1080p streaming enabled, what kind of video streaming speeds can you expect? Well, let's find out. As you can see, the app surges initially, giving you fast speeds, and then kind of throttles you to about 9.6 megabits per second. Let's run that one more time just to check. And what you're gonna see is fast speeds initially, up to 26 megabits per second. That's gonna help your video load and buffer initially, and then you're gonna get sustained speeds of about 9.9 megabits per second. I think the actual speed cap is 10 megabits per second, but still, that is awesome and plenty fast for 1080p video. Okay, but what about the Visible Plus Pro plan? This advertises full 4K streaming on 5G ultra wideband, and as you can see, when we start this up, it actually looks like it's getting capped at the same 10. Oh, now it is not getting capped. Now it's going faster, 40, 50, 70, 80, 100, 120, 200, 300. Do we see 400? Nope, 300. Oh my God, it's still going up. There's 400. 430, 450, 480, 500. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is screaming fast. Yeah, anyway, this is definitely going to be fast enough to stream 4K content, which typically needs just about 25 megabits per second. That was absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and run that test again, see if we get any different results. Oh my God, screaming 3 gigabits per second, 1.6, that's actually probably more accurate, 1.3, 1.2, oh my gosh, 1.1, unbelievable. Visible Plus Pro, 1.1 gigabits per second for video streaming content. Absolutely insane. Okay, but what about Verizon Unlimited Ultimate? Again, we're connected to 5G ultra wideband, and you can see similar story. It is getting fully uncapped video streaming speeds, and you're getting over 1 gigabit per second for your video content. But there is a but. The video streaming speeds actually change depending on if you're on 5G ultra wideband or if you're on LTE. So let's go ahead, let's turn all of these phones into LTE mode and then run a test again to see what the video streaming speeds are like on LTE. Okay, we've got all the phones in LTE mode. Let's go back. And now let's go ahead and run a fast.com test on LTE to see what those speed caps are like. And running the test on LTE here, you can see Visible Base capping out at around 1.9 megabits per second, exactly the same as before. That's going to be 480p quality. Visible Plus, it looks like this is now slower on LTE. It's getting a result of about, looks like 5 megabits per second, waiting for that to finish. 4. Oh, it might even be slower. 4.8 megabits per second is the speed cap. So that's going to be closer to 720p streaming quality on Visible Plus on LTE. Visible Plus Pro, it looks like it is still uncapped. This might actually be a glitch. Let's go ahead and try that one again because Verizon Unlimited Ultimate got 9.7 megabits per second. So Verizon is capped at about 10 megabits per second, and there it is. So is Visible Plus Pro. So Visible Plus Pro, Verizon Unlimited Ultimate, you're going to be getting about 1080p streaming quality on LTE. Visible Plus, you're down to about 720p video streaming quality, and Visible Base, it remains capped 480p quality on Visible Base. So there you go. That has been a quick look at the cellular speeds and video streaming quality speed caps on Visible Base, Visible Plus Pro, and Verizon Unlimited Ultimate. I'm Stetson, and I hope that's helpful. I'll see you next time.